Over the course of nearly 6 centuries, the intergalactic consortium known as the Syndicate pushed the inexorable machine of war to invade, settle, enslave, and ravage all terrestrial bodies it discovered. To oversee the depletion of planetary resources, the Syndicate created AI humanidroid servants known as simulants. These semi-intelligent servant biomachines oversaw the slave labor of the workers, a people doomed to die on the very surface of the planet they worked. The greed of the Syndicate once drove it to expand mightily across 3 galaxies, but this would also be its downfall. As resources were consumed faster than they could be mined, the Syndicate began to erode within the planets they harvested. The ultimate Imperator was assassinated during a rebellion, and thus the already strained seams of the Syndicate finally ripped apart, and his bones...
A new subscriber! Hello there!
And his bones were scattered across the universe. War broke out between separatists and loyalists within each parsec of control until all that was left was a horrific nightmare of what once was. After 576 years of universal terror across 3 galaxies, only one stronghold loyal to the Syndicate remained: the orbiter station Thrasis, in geostationary orbit over a planet that refused to go barren despite the Syndicate's control. It is here, in a cluttered workshop within that station, we find our next hero. In brief, who are you? What do you look like, and what do you do for the Syndicate?
Log dated. Am Mr. Renault, Umbert, Noreau. I have, an average stature, well sun-kissed complexion, and I like to do a lot of good work for the Syndicate, because long as they leave me alone, and that has not given me the best situations, considering I'm now technically an indentured servant, but I've been here for long enough to where it doesn't seem that way, and I'm left alone to my own devices.
So you are a mechanic? You are an overseer? What are you?
I am an everyman mechanic. I am if something is wrong on the Thrasis, I will go and fix the pipes, or whatever have you pops up as a troubleshooter.
And what appearance do we see species-wise?
I am a human. I have the basic engineer type outfit on, where I am covered in all manner of oil or material that keeps the ship up and running. Most likely, oil under the fingers, a random tool hereby. I have things around that nobody really knows what they're for, and always something to help me focus on my work.
Brilliant. By the way, we are, wow, these guys are absolutely amazing. Everyone in the chat is we're now on a level 3 hype train.
Come on, guys.
No, they're doing amazing.
Right. Wow.
And just as an FYI, if anybody goes to follow, he gets an advantage immediately, and every level of hype train that we touch upon, he also receives a +1, +2, or +3. None of the difficulties during the game are actually adjusted to take this into account, so you really do actually help the player. So continuing, the simulants on the surface of Terrace 1 had gone rogue since the communication network irreparably collapsed 12 years ago.
Hello there.
It's amazing. God, you people. Alex Vixen, thank you. Just gone rogue. And their communication network irreparably collapsed 12 years ago. An event that ended not only in the control of the simulants on the surface, but also in the public execution of the 23 saboteurs and all engineers and operators of the simulant program. Specialized retrieval squads were assigned to the reclamation of these rogue units. What came back to the Thrasis, however, was often nothing more than war-torn bits and bobs of what was once a simulant. Without the very engineers that were executed, Your duties, Renault, were expanded to include salvage operations. We now turn to your workshop, once a clean storehouse of parts for most systems aboard the Thracis. Remnants of the organizational system are now buried under the clutter of simulant and communication system parts. The overworked staff of 2, you, and another human by the name of Elix are all that remains. Elix, wow, I think they just tipped level 4. Fuck. Man, you may need all of this. This is awesome. Yeah. Holy cow, this is awesome. So, Elix was reassigned from a collapsing orbiter to the Thracis just 10 years ago. But during that time, you and Elix have become quite inseparable. After all, you've had to rely on each other to get through the days and nights away from your respective families. Tell me something about your relationship with Elix.
I know that Renault or myself feel as though Elix is a little too well organized. I might have suspected that he was one of those automaton types. Maybe he's become a close friend of mine over time, but I'll keep telling him that. He's definitely my friend, and he needs to come off of the scheduled work shifts. It's so annoying, but he makes really good hot brown. So, cheers to that.
Okay. Hold on here. Wow. On your workbench, displayed prominently for everything at your grasp, for every tool that you've had, including the odd one that you always keep in your pocket, a multi-tool that has come in handy more than any other specialized tool. Everything is around you, always within grasp. Various odds and bits of technology, objects in semi-states of repair, or simply being built. We also see a picture of someone we've not yet met. A girl, if I'm not mistaken. Who is this person? What is she to you? When did you last see her? And when will you see her again?
That girl in the photo is my daughter. Her name is Desiree, and I have not seen her for quite some time, and the last time I saw her was in a hollow projection. And she's on one of the floating colonies that has survived in the recent warring scapes throughout the Syndicate. Hopefully, I will get to see her in the flesh, as that is something that I aspire to confirm her well-being.
Do we know when the last time was that you saw her?
It had been about 7 years ago.
7 years.
And she was very, very small then. Probably about 2, maybe 3 years old.
So she's about 9 or 10 now.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. And under the photo, pieces of equipment lie strewn about as if she were overseeing your work in a protective fashion. Some of them are parts to a never-ending list of official projects, a futile attempt by the remnants of the Syndicate to hold everything together. But for what purpose? No one knows. Other parts, though, are of your own projects, many of which combine odd elements of things here and there, whether it be metal and plastic or bone, subtubing, and a half-eaten bit of fruit. There is also an elbow-shaped item of about 3 hands wide or so, various tidbits of electronics, and an odd assortment of items attached to it in suspicious ways. This is one of your latest projects, and while you've not yet got it to work, what would be its purpose?
We have these resources that exist. Every once in a while they get through into the ventilation system, and they're the closest thing to life that manages to get into the station. We call them space fleas. They're not really fleas at all, but they stick to us just like that as we go throughout the outer atmospheres whenever asteroid belts are traversed through. But this is supposed to add a bit of current to their outer shell. See, when they enter a portion of any type of air-based state of being, they depressurize. So adding a charge to them will get a better. I don't want to go into the details of it, but they come to life. And I believe that would be a source of nutrients that could be utilized for us since our rations are diminishing.
You're saying that the space fleas, you're trying to harvest them for a source of food?
That is correct.
And your item has the ability to pass current through them en masse if you, like, throw it at them, or...
Correct. It has to be connected to them directly. It changes their whole physiology. They're more of a mineral type, but I noticed that when you put a certain amount of current through them, they change and they depressurize. And it's like expanding a sponge.
Like an expanding sponge. Wow. Okay. And so this has the ability to claim current that it introduced to them in a way, turning them into not only a source of nutrition, but also battery? Did I understand you correctly?
Correct.
Cool. Do you have an item? Do you have a name for this gizmo?
I have not quite called it anything in particular because I want it to be successful before I give it life itself.
And so far, it's not worked at all.
It has not worked in the slightest.
And what is it? Can I ask you, what is the oddest thing that is currently attached to this?
That would be the boomerang.
Okay. What is that?
The boomerang allows me to open the airlock. We get in our suit. We throw the boomerang, and it's attached to this device. And it flies around, and sometimes, if we're accurate or lucky or dumb luck, it picks off the space fleas and returns them, so I do not have to traverse on the outside of the vessel.
So it's an electronic boomerang that harvests space fleas and the electricity that you. So it's perpetual. It's you're creating energy and getting all that same energy back.
And I'm working on it. The energy actually is already in the device because of the way it interacts with the radiation that goes throughout and how it comes through. The electrical current makes a cycle in resources. It's all really difficult work, but it is and can be successful if done right. I, however, have expended a great deal of energy to acquire all of this, so no returns yet, but I foresee it happening.
You spent a great deal of energy coming up with this thing. It's awesome. Alrighty. So now, hold on, let me take a sip of water. Okay. Now, over the past several days, Elix has heaped more reclaimed items than usual on the shelves and bins. This would suggest that whatever they were doing down below on the surface was starting to pick up. But like you, Elix has no grasp of the mission. You were both simply to do as you were told, some 36,000 kilometers away from anyone that you truly knew or cared about either of you. During one particular salvage run down on the surface some weeks back, Elix went to go pick up the remains that had been brought back up to the station. And there he found some materials from the reclamation squads who claimed much of it as it had come from a communications bunker on the surface. This included a telemetry unit, a monitor, various transmitters and receivers, holo units, and more. All of it operable or at least salvageable for parts. May I have an investigation check?
Of course. Be my special.
Yes.
I got a total of a 24.
Okay.
17 on the dice.
That's awesome. Okay, good. Let me get this here. Okay. With a 24, you begin taking a look at some of the items that are there, and you begin realizing that many of them have the ability to become something so much more. You take a look, and after a good amount of inventory, you also notice that by connecting some of these pieces, you might actually be able to create some kind of a communications unit, or at least something that would monitor the transmissions to and from the surface. Is this anything that you would like to further investigate?
Absolutely. in a way to get in contact with my daughter in a stronger feed, especially with a better output, that would be fantastic.
All right. Yeah, you begin immediately start putting some stuff together. Let me see here. We're going to set that at a. You know what? Let's make sure that you have all the parts. So you already did your entire investigation. For this, because you are coming in. I mean, right now, all of our characters are in the preludes are all game 0, so we don't actually have any magic or anything along those lines yet, right? So, but I would like to use your Arcana check, unless you have another check that would be really helpful in this case.
Total I have for that Arcana check is a 15. 8 on the roll.
Oh, that's perfect. With a 15, you managed to get some things up and running. A couple of things start whirring, and the monitor, of course, lights up. You see some stuff beginning to appear on the screen. Definitely, things now begin to come to life in your lab. But there's just some sort of murmur of some stuff that's going on elsewhere. And unfortunately, you really don't pick up on too much. Every now and then, you still hear a burner from the ship trying to stay in orbit, much of it using up whatever little resources were there. And very often, when the burner goes off, there's like a electrical spark that blows a wire somewhere. This entire station is already beginning to fall apart. Another burner then goes in order to keep this thing in orbit. Even though it's in geostationary orbit 36,000 kilometers away from the surface, the planet's pull still pulls it closer and closer. Nonetheless, the telemetry unit keeps working. Next several days, more simulant units start coming in. This particular time, you notice something a little bit odd. Some readings start coming up on the telemetry unit as you begin taking a look at some of the simulant parts. And you hear some obscure communication, uncertain what it really is. Can I have a straight-up intelligence check?
11 total.
You don't really make out any of the language. Even your bud, he comes over and he's like, I thought I've heard a whole bunch of things here. I don't know what that is. I'm surprised you got that thing going, but good for you. Hey, if you ever find out what it is that we're actually supposed to be doing up here, let me know, will you? Please? In the meantime, I'm going to go make another check. By the way, you see that simulant torso over there?
Yeah, what about it?
It actually has a little blue... Hold on, the burners are going, and he immediately grabs onto some shelves.
You can fix that. All right.
Things are shaking and everything like that.
Warn me next time. I was writing down the proper working parts for this device. What were you saying about this thing?
There's a light on inside of it. There's like a diode of some kind. Anyway, I got to get back over the depot. I'll bring back some more stuff for you. And
hey, bring some hot brown, please. I'm dying.
Hold on. What do you want?
The more the hot brown.
Got it.
The stuff you do. Thanks.
Got it.
You're great. You're a gem.
Got it. And he goes through the door. The burners have been going and going and going now. And they've been going for several days. This is not something in your 12 years on board this vessel, on board the station, that has ever happened. Every now and then, like every week or so, they might actually fire once or twice. But that, along with an increase in communication, you've heard in the hulls and other portions of the ship more and more activity. Normally, the entire station would have thousands of people on it. At best count, you estimate about 100, if that. How so few people can actually keep the station up and running, no one knows. Take a look at the simulant.
What is going on here?
You see within it, it is in fact a diode. You've never had any part of a simulant with power. It just due to their strength, the reclamation teams have had to use significant amounts of artillery just to blow them into high hell. These things are powerful. They have been meant to squash entire rebellion single-handedly. So nothing with power has ever come back out of them. This one still has a little bit of something in it. Can I have an investigation check again, please?
Takes it apart. I rolled a 20 total, 13 on the dice.
Good God.
Begins to work the outer bits of it with the shell, seeing if it can work or be unworked without damaging any connectivity to this source of energy.
Yeah, you're going for it. You're feeling around on this thing. There's a surface that you see a spark start illuminating the area. You see a light beginning to burn and hum. You twist a couple of things in order to contain the power. You manage to eventually locate its source. It's a small, what appears to be a black cube. No larger than your typical D6. Maybe a giant version of a D6. Itself is contained in what appears to be a gold cage that tightly fits around it. Much of the gold cage, fragile as it is, warped and damaged and stretched and broken. You might be able to hammer everything back. But the cube itself is there. You've never seen anything like this, and anything has been reclaimed in the past.
Are there any etchings on it that I recognize?
Nothing. You know what it actually looks like is more like a perfect cube of obsidian, though nowhere near as fragile.
Huh. I guess I could test the density of this, or maybe I should leave it alone. I don't know. Perhaps this is something I should investigate further. Maybe I can use it to power and fix this ship. This thing is running ragged. No?
You want to run some tests on it or something?
I will. I'm going to run it through my device. Maybe instead of the space fleas, I wonder if it will give enough output to reverse the energy distribution.
Yeah, sure.
Renault's gonna run his little whoozy was it to his telemetry reader.
Okay.
And try and connect it to this simulant device and get the connection right.
Absolutely. Give me another investigation check on this one. Or actually, on this case, give me a perception, please.
Perception?
Yep.
That would be much better. 19 total.
Okay. You can see that upon connecting, first off, you try determining, a pressure test and other things like that. You started by doing a scratch test just to see exactly how hard it is, and then you put it into other things. You're not coming in. Wait a second. The blue and the purple on the nameplate. Oh, thank you. I was like, why is this highlighted? Why am I reading that? I need to read this right now. Thank you. You first a scratch test, then a pressure test, and then other. This thing is it's impossible to destruct. Yeah, at one point you just grab a tool, like any random tool, smack, and this thing just like bounces off the table, lands on not even so much as the perfect corner, remains chipped. You continue to work at it, but when you begin to expose it to certain things, such as electricity, it begins to react. As a matter of fact, your boomerang, you know how that has a charge within it? When you place this thing down underneath your daughter's photo, which was overlooking your workbench, you noticed it kind of reflected. At first, you just thought, okay, well, it's a glossy surface. That's not a problem whatsoever. And then, it reflects the image of the object next to it. Yeah, there's ample light in this place for that to happen. But when you picked it up, you realize the image is still there. You're taking a look at it, you now see your reflection in it. And the reflection of the prior object begins to fade, and as soon as you move it around some more, it goes back to being just a glossy surface.
Perhaps. Desiree, you've helped me again, my dear. Now to experiment.
I love that.
I think we're going to try this see what happens with different types of light. And Renault is going to go through and get regular white light and kind of put it in a controlled area, moving it into a darkened box, putting in a white light and interchanging between that. UV light to see if there is any reaction there, getting it.
Does not seem to be anything from visible light or UV. Infrared also shows a ambient temperature. As well. When you start moving into the microwaves or other parts of non-visible light, you do start entering into like some really odd stuff, particularly when you start reaching like EM and what have you. I mean, well, it's all electromagnetic anyway, but nonetheless, when you really start hitting like microwaves, they are so large. Normally, they don't. It's like they just kind of bounce off of reflective things and what have you. You expose this thing to a wide variety of It doesn't heat up. It simply absorbs imagery. When you get it near another electrical source, it apparently holds onto the very object that created it on its surface, as if, like, if you hold it near a battery, all of a sudden a picture of that battery is within the surface itself. May I have a... Let's see if we can figure this out. Let's go for a perception check, and I want to remind you, the chat was incredibly wonderful. They gave you a +1, +2, +3, +4, and +5, along with 5 urchins, or 5 advantages, if you will, that you can always use. So feel free
to go back to it, but I rolled an 18 for perception.
An 18 is going to work. It's just a DC 15, so you're absolutely fine on that. Or excuse me, it's a DC 20 on this. I apologize. It's a DC 20.
I will use a +2.
Okay, you got it.
I'll use the +2 to get that 220.
All right.
Thank you, chat.
Yeah, you begin to realize, wait a second, it's taking in more than just the current. In fact, at one measurement, you realize that this has all the energy of your workshop contained within it, simply by replicating the potential energy that everything around you has within it. It replicates energy. This is impossible. The energy has to be transferred or something. You can't just create something out of nothing. What would you like to do?
This material is strange. And I love it. It has the propensity for so many practical applications. I think there must be a way to...
The telemetry unit in the corner, the one that you built several days ago, has a warning going off.
One had to put this down. I'm going to put it to the side and to check the readings on that.
You go over to it, and you can see that there is some kind of a blip on the unit itself. It's something reading that there is an area, Reclamation Area Sector 58G. That's the one that you're orbiting in geostationary orbit, directly over. There's something coming out of the unit. You can begin seeing a reading of incredibly high activity. Would you...
Hopefully the intercom/PA system might be able to work. I'm going to check to see if that is actually functioning still.
Yeah, at one point you managed to grab onto... You reach over to it. It seems like the last of the burns just seem to have burned out that unit. You like pull it. Yep, there goes another. Yep, there goes another system.
I'm going to have to find Elex. How do I report this? I never do the proper protocols for this. All right. That's fine. It's fine. I have work to do. I'm going to ignore
the moment you sit down, you see something like your pen on your work begins to start to roll very slowly off the desk.
He's going to. I'm going to check and make sure that our gravity control is properly sustained.
Yeah, you go right back over to that unit. Now that you can monitor all of the systems, you begin checking everything. Things are beginning to go off kilter. Like, you're seeing various readings. Some of them are off the scale, and some of them are completely bottoming out. No systems are freaking nominal at this point. Now, you've known for a while there that things have not been normal for a number of years, and yet somehow, some way, this thing has managed to stay up there. But something is beginning to happen. There's a creaking all around you, until finally, you begin hearing the creaking of metal somewhere around you, as if the hull itself were beginning to bend and twist. Another burner now fires, and more electrical sparks around you start giving way. The entire ship begins to shudder, and then it just comes back to still.
What?
Another. This one much closer.
Oh no. This is not happening to me. I'm not going out like that. I'm going to go get a suit.
Okay, yeah, man. You get up, you get out, and there's an overhead pipe. As you begin to approach the pipe, the whole thing bursts, and then there's like a that comes down on you. Can I have a dex save, please?
Critical failure, total 4.
Oh my god. All right. The steam blasts you in the face, temporarily blinding you. You are anything that you do that's going to be perception based is going to be at disadvantage until I say so, until you correct this condition. You start feeling around for the beginning of the door. You come across the keypad. The keypad has no numbers on it, but you know what it is. What do you want to do?
Theta. Where is it? Theta. Epsilon Rho?
You try it. Nope.
It's with
Get another one.
Office.
You try again.
Oh.
It's nope. No go.
Nah, nothing. All right. One more. Let's try that. One more. Can't. It burns so badly. Just gonna blind tap it and smash it one time.
You try smashing it?
Yep.
Okay.
This damn thing, I can't see it in my eye.
Well, apparently that manages to do it, and there's something that else. There's air that comes out of your room, rushing right past you. You feel your clothes like waving in front of you. What are you doing?
I'm gonna hold on to the door because that's a pressure change.
Oh yes, that is. You manage to hold onto the door without a problem, and then it really begins. Now that you are exposed on the outside of your protected chamber, and you're going to have to go down the hallway, down to the left by about another 50 feet or so, and then turn right in order to be able to get into the suit-up area. Is this something that you want to try?
Yes. I'm going to grab that back tubing outside, since it's right by the door. I'm going to grab the back tubing to my boomerang device.
Okay.
And I'm going to bring that with me and try to use it to repel myself.
Okay, yep, you managed to hold on to it. Let's see, going forward, you are, let me see. You know what? Oh, give me a perception check with disadvantage.
I'll just roll this twice and take the lower of the two. 5 and 9, so 5, 10 total for perception.
10?
Yeah.
You are kind of feeling your way around. You're being thrown back and forth against the sides of the hallway. The ship is beginning to shudder. You can hear distant alarms, including system failure announcements and more. You finally get down the passage. Yep, you finally get down the passageway. Let me see here. You get smacked up against the wall. You take 2 points of damage. You feel like a little bit of bruising now just on your left flank. There was like something poking out of the wall. I meant to jab you right in the ribs.
Not my day.
Yeah, no, dude. You are, let's see. All right, you managed to, good. You finally managed to get down the hallway and hook a right. The whole ship then immediately shudders off to the side, and you can hear something going on just outside.
Helix.
Something.
Helix.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, there's a knocking at the door, and you can see right through you see Elix's face just on the other side of the door. He's like looking at it. He's like, 1 minute! And he's trying to grab onto it, and you see him like taking out a tool or what have you. Hold on.
There.
He reaches over to the panel or say he's doing something over there. You try, like, your face is still burned from the steam. You start looking at it. It looks like he does manage to in fact get the door open. It does slide open. Not a problem there. That's good. However, he's there. You feel him grip you, throw his arm around you. It's like, what the fuck happened to you, man? Come on.
Everything's going wrong.
Yeah, well, come on. We got to get suits on.
Yeah.
We got to go.
Let's go.
And he's trying to help you out. He's trying to help you along. All of a sudden, there's like the entire ship begins to shudder. I need deck saves from the two of you. I got my. Oh. Let me know what you got.
I got an 18 total.
You're fine. You just happen to have been holding on to something, a pipe on the side. He gets thrown over, but you rolled so well, you managed to grab him before he actually slams into the other side. You two now continue down the way, and as you do, there is one point there where you can feel, you can hear a. There is air leaking from your corridor going through a very fine distance between the two doors of an adjacent room in the hallway. Something is behind that is causing all of the pressure to go that way. Now, where you need to suit up is ahead of you through some closed doors. You're going to have to open those up as well.
He's going straight for it. He's like, again, he's not dying in the vacuum of space.
Yeah, he's like, no, fuck, I agree. You're right. No.
Let's go, Elix.
He walks you forward. He gets on over to the keypad, punches in the correct code. Takes a second. You both end up punching it or something along those lines. You do it again. The door now opens. Finally, you're able to finally suit up there. Now, mind you, I want to know what you brought with you out of the room, and whatever you state now is what you have with you. So
I have my boomerang with the apparatus that charges.
Okay, you have all right.
I have the little cube thing in my left hand, and I was managed to hold on to that.
Okay, so you have the cube.
And I have my jacket. That's it.
And your jacket.
So it's literally all I have.
All right, cool. All right, and you also have your futuristic Leatherman, your multi-tool.
Yeah, my little. Yeah, I usually have that with me. Where did I put it? Oh no, did I actually lose it?
May I have? You know what? Give me a perception check. This could be with advantage if you want to use one of your urchins.
I will keep it at the initial roll because I got a 16 total.
Just as you were leaving, you remember to grab your daughter's photo.
That's important.
And, okay, let me see. Is there anything else that you wish you had the ability to grab?
One of the rocks that are technically what we call space fleas.
Oh, you want to grab some of those? Okay.
I want to see if I can grab at least one.
One space flea?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a rock.
Okay, that's fine. That you believe has nutrition within it?
When applied a different energy source,
okay,
it can
all right,
absolutely become something that's sustaining,
and that's
in the cold vacuum of space.
And that's never worked yet, has it?
No, it has not.
Okay, so you're essentially going from you're turning stones into gold, essentially. Okay, all right, just making sure. Alrighty, you guys do manage to get in there, and during this time, Elix first suits himself up and sits you down, straps you in, so you're not going to go flying anywhere. He suits himself up, takes his helmet, just puts it down for a second so we can communicate with you. Gets you into your suit. There's not a problem. things are starting to really go bad all around you. You can feel the shudder of the ship and everything more. He takes it, puts the helmet on you. Something breaks just on the outside. That door that you guys just get, and you are now behind the helmet. Nothing you say can barely be heard. Something else begins to occur. There's the doors where you are, they begin to buckle and scream as you see them go. One of them starts going out, and now he's reaching for his helmet. Hold on. He goes reaching for his helmet. Unfortunately, the whole ship goes and suddenly shifts. His helmet starts sliding back down the hall from whence you came, back to those two doors. One of those doors immediately flies off and goes somewhere into the hallway, and you hear it loud bang as it slams into one of the walls, probably towards the door that you had just passed that had that the sucking of air coming out of it. There are a series of warnings and other things that are beginning to go on around you. You see him reach for you. Can I have a dex save, please? And this is going to be at disadvantage, or it can be dex or strength, your choice. And it's going to be a disadvantage because you're currently buckled in.
So the lower of the two was a 14 total. I would like to add the 1 to it to see if that helps at all.
Okay, you're going to add your 1 to it. Unfortunately, it's a DC 20.
Yep.
So, not a 15. It's hard. Okay. Yeah, he's already started to slide. You reach forward, like really, you almost dislocate your shoulder just trying to reach for him, and also your vision is not good. He starts sliding right towards it. Hold on for 1 second. All right, not bad. He got a 16. He manages to hold on to the door, but immediately you just see him. He's gone. He gets right out. The entire ship begins to collapse all around you. What are you doing during this time?
Going to try and pull in towards this box and see if I can find an emergency lockdown to stop the pressure or localize the pressure.
You know this area. There's nothing here. In fact, the doors one of the doors that just got sucked out down the hallway, that is one of the containment doors. Now, you guys are you're supposed to be so far inside of the station that these are just casual doors, but there are containment doors in case there is a breach of significance. And apparently, this is a hull breach which has reached all the way back here.
I have to get away from it. Do I know any other passages that could get me further in? Perhaps that would be sectioned away from this? Possibly.
Now, you're going to have to go back. Yeah, you can go through. So the room that you're in has one other exit out of it. You can go through that, and you know that it's going to branch off and head closer towards the core of the station. That is the most protected area, and that is the reactor.
Taking a breath, thinking about the mission that he's about to do, having his things, looking at the picture of his daughter.
Okay.
He's gonna wrap that up, and he's going to use the air pressure to propel himself in that direction.
Oh, the air pressure is going in the opposite direction.
Oh, it's an opposite. Oh, this is gonna be hell then.
Yeah.
All right. So now I'm gonna be using my tools to get towards the reactor area.
Okay, so now you meant to hold on to a couple of straps which are hanging where some of the suits are, they're up against the walls inside of their own units. There are some straps that are also hanging. That's usually meant for the temporary placement of helmets as you're standing up and putting on the suit. It's an assistance system because the suit's never meant to be put on solo. So you manage to hold on to a couple of those. Can I have 2 dex saves to cover the entire distance?
22 for the first one.
Oh shit! Yeah, you start you're like halfway across the room. What was the other?
10 for the second.
Oh, dude. You start reaching for it, and all of a sudden there's there's an entire lurching. It throws you back and off to the right by about 5 to 7 feet or so. You're gonna need to make 2 more dex saves. If you get a total of 3 failures, We're going down a very different route.
First one's a failure.
That's 2 failures. Oh, dude, remember, you have 5 rerolls. You have 5 advantages.
Okay. Second roll is a 19.
Okay, good. So now you're back again halfway across the room. You need one more success, man. One more. You're killing me here.
Last one is a 17.
You finally get it. All right, you get through. You have to hold on to everything. Kind of, your vision is starting to come back, so you have to hold on to a couple things. You manage to get to the door, open it up, and proceed beyond.
Yeah.
With all the warning systems and everything like that that is beginning to happen all around you, you're beginning to realize that there's not a chance that this ship is going to survive. At one point, you come across a monitor which shows you the outside. It's just meant to be a beautiful display of Terrace 1 below. Terrace 1 is now much larger than it ever has been in the past.
We're about to enter Atmo.
Well, you were 36,000 kilometers away in a geostationary orbit, so you have a ways to go before you hit the Atmo, but you're heading in that direction.
The longer I take, the more impossible it will be to escape the gravitational pull of the planet. So, reactor or pod? Is there a pod?
Yeah, you're gonna look for a pod?
Is reactor a pod from where I am? Which is the better
no. The reactor is, so the hallway now splits in directly in front of you. You know that down 2 levels is the reactor area. Off to the left, on the other hand, it's going to go around the inside core to various other research, supply, and repair stations.
I don't have time for that. Gotta go straight to the reactor. We're gonna move.
Yeah, you start going down, and you begin to begin to hear the resonance of the reactor core as you go down the first flight and down to the second. As soon as you hit the first flight, as soon as you hit the floor under yours, you can see a hallway that has like 20 people in it that are all running out to an exit. And you know that where they're going is most likely going to be where all the pods are, in order to get out of this thing and kind of eject yourself. You can also continue going straight down towards the core. Which way would you like to go?
I'm gonna keep going towards the core. I could probably save more people if I manage to get there and prevent this plummeting.
Okay, yeah. You start heading towards that area. You hear and the wrenching of metal, that high-pitched sound that's just that awful crushing sound, and you hear no, and then you feel a lack of air in your immediate area, and you begin picking up a breeze which is now beginning to pass by you as well. You want to go down those stairs? You do. You start racing all the way down there. Thankfully, you're going down some hallways that have plenty of doors in between you and the rest of the ship, or rest of the station rather. You're going, and you finally get into a hallway where a lot of the stuff that has been happening now seems at least further away. The warning lights are flashing. The reactor doors are ahead. The keypad is in front of you in order to get into that area.
Theta. Here, Kappa. Put it in. It's the right time. It's the right one this time.
Give me an intelligence check.
Oh, yep. I got an 11, but I want to do a re-roll for that one.
Yep.
All right. Much better. 19.
Okay. Yeah, you plug this one in. The door unlocks.
All right. I have to absorb as much information about what's happening on the ship as possible in this next moment.
Yeah, you see an entire team of about 17 people that are in here, and all of them are sweating bullets. They're all trying to figure out what exactly is going on. The tension in this room is unreal. Everything does seem to be stable. The reactor is doing its job. It's pumping out energy. That's probably the last thing to go. With the containment door now shut behind you, everything seems to be okay. You start taking a look at some of the monitors, and there are several officers who are around, and they're trying to get they're barking out orders of what they need to do, and this, that, and the other thing. One of them tells you, "Go get this, that, or the other part." You don't even know what the hell that thing is, but you manage to figure it out. Yeah, you totally managed to figure it out. Demonstration of your intelligence. You assessed the scene, took it into context, and immediately said, "It must be this." And then you handed it over to him. He looks at you real quick, realizing for the first time he doesn't know you, takes it, and immediately goes back to work. Like, even turning around at one point as he's rushing, it's like, one, who are you, and how the fuck did you get in here? But unfortunately for him, he doesn't have any real time. However, there's also something else that's beginning to happen. You notice the presence of something around you, talking. There's someone near you whispering in your ear. You don't see anyone.
Hello.
Nothing responds.
What do you need me to do? Does anybody need assistance, helping on something? I can fix any wire breakage that we have in here for proper communications. Can we get a message down?
At one point, a couple of them, they ask you to do something, but then they drift off in thought as they continue to punch buttons and take a look at screens. Reflections of the panic coming up onto their face from the monitors itself. All of the numbers that they're trying to crunch, whether on paper or on tablet or on a holo screen, they're trying to do everything that they can, and everyone seems to be focused to the point of almost ignoring you. Fortunately for the entire station, they've not abandoned their station yet. So you continue to do your thing. You have the opportunity to look around for a while.
That is exactly what I'm going to do, especially in terms of anything that I specialize in with repairs or anything that could make their job a little easier.
Absolutely. Yeah, you start taking a look around. There's a wide variety of objects in this room that you've never seen before, tools and other stuff. Maybe you grab some or what have you. But you are not noticing really anything here that you could possibly do. But then you hear again something. You focus for a second and you listen. You allow the rest of the world to fade away, just as you've done in the past. Something or someone is out there. You can hear it. It's like the signals of the transmission are managing to hit your head and only your head. No one else seems to be listening, but you can hear it. Then quiet. And then back. Something, a repeating pattern. And then voices coming from your left hand. You take a look.
Cube.
Yeah, the cube. You look at the black cube and you hear something. And then in the cube itself, you can see the reflection of a face. It looks like a broad-nosed, very wide, scrunched down, like it take your face, squish it down a little bit, and make the features a little bit more prominent, strong, stout, like a living rock, looking at it. But it's just a reflection that had been captured.
Pauses and thinks about the potential that he thought about the first time when he came across this, the idea that it gave output but didn't have any input. It was displaced energy, perhaps. Crystalline features moving in a pattern. Perhaps he's hearing the pattern or sensing the patterns differently.
Life systems failure.
You begin hearing something going on around you. It takes you out of it, and immediately the ship and all of the danger pertaining to it, everything around you becomes back to life. Everyone still continues to punch in all sorts of numbers and stuff. However, you've now noticed that a very large crack has begun to appear. Actually, you re-examine, and it looks like that the systems that are up against the wall that have been broken off of the wall by the crack in the wall have been that way now for quite some time. A fire has already occurred. You can see the black scorch marks in that area, and people continue to just put the last bits of the extinguisher on it.
I missed this. What's happening?
You take a look at the cube again. And again, something. You can feel a pulse. You can feel a connection. There's something there. And the tighter that you grip that cube, the more you can feel like a connection to something. And that something isn't inside of the ship. It seems to be something external to the ship.
Renault's going to put his hands down and onto the deck or the nearest reading areas and close his fist around the cube.
You do?
Holding it tightly, seeing if the energy input from kinetics does something.
You hear something. Every time that you squeeze it, you hear something else. You hear whispers of a person or a thing. You hear that pulsing pull towards something else. And on top of it all, you squeeze again. And you hear an unidentifiable voice, a deep voice. You squeeze it again. And you listen. And there's nothing there. In the background, you begin taking into account that other things are going on. You understand that the ship is starting to fall apart. You're beginning to get into it, but you concentrate again, and immediately all those sounds begin disappearing once more. You look around for something more, and then you feel it. Give me a perception check.
22?
22?
Yeah.
Okay. You understand that something is happening, and whatever it is, it's almost welcoming. Around you, you acknowledge that there is a flash of light from a spark up against a wall, and someone got lurched out of their chair as the ship itself shifts. You look over and you can see people scrambling to get a purchase on something so that they can hold on as they begin to slide away. You see one person immediately go up in the air after an explosion caused the floor under them to lift them up. Everything around you is slow, but you understand that something is nearby. And then you see through the crack. It's a color you've never seen before. It's a color your mind is having a lot of difficulty trying to understand. You see one person look up at the crack, but what they are looking at is how it is beginning to expand and how certain objects are starting to make their way, the very lighter of the objects, papers and what have you, starting to make its way to the crack and then gets sucked right out. People, not even their hair is really moving if they're a safe distance away. But you don't see anything that would suggest that they see the same thing that you do. What are you thinking? What are you feeling?
There must be an anomaly. I know of this. I've read about this. We've had theories about this. I'm not entirely sure if I was able to perceive it, but this is outside of my capabilities of even understanding. It would be a folding. Everything is slower, but in order for me to perceive the distance between events, I have to have that shared experience. That shared experience must be folding now. This isn't my brain being active. This is something folding in on itself, and it's interacting with an outside source. This outside source is linked to this cube. The ship is being destroyed. It's coming apart.
But you also understand, as your focus is on the cube, you look inside of that, and you can see a round object now starting to come into focus. A round object that appears to be a planet. Terrace 1 by the looks of it. And then that object gets smaller and smaller. And you can see the station like whiz by you and become smaller and smaller as well, as the planet behind it does as well. And beyond that, you can see a moon also fly immediately past you, and then another planet, and then the star around which it is orbiting, and then that entire solar system and the one nearest to it. You're now out of the parsec that you were in, and now in another, and a star field slowly converges in towards a center point, until finally you see gaseous clouds, clusters of stars. All the stars. It is beautiful, but you're beginning to realize where you are and what you are is so insignificant. But then something else begins to rise up. Something that comes from a place that isn't of this universe. Something that comes from You look up, and you see the tear in the hull real quick. Your mind still completely focusing on everything around you. But beyond that crack lies something else. This ship, all around you, you can see fire has now broken out. Sparks are flying. You see people already impaled on what used to be a portion of a monitor, the glass of it, now shredding them from the inside. You are still holding on to something, your feet glued to the deck. Your hand still holding on to that cube. What are you doing?
The moment that I have clarity that is outside of time, it seems, so I'm going to move. I'm going to try to escape. Self-preservation.
Which way do you go?
For a moment, I look at the crack.
You see, there's something out there. May I have an intelligence check, please?
Mm-hmm. 13.
You know that there's more to it than that. You want to throw something into it?
Do I have a +3 left?
Yeah, you do.
Or
Yeah.
I'm going to use the +3.
Yeah, you have after this, you have a 4 and a 5 as well.
Oh, I didn't know I made it to 5.
Oh,
Nice,
yeah.
thanks, guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you put the 3 into it, so that's going to make it a 16. Not a problem. Not a problem. You look through the crack, and you concentrate a little bit more. You begin working on some calculations, trying to figure out exactly what this could be. And while in your left hand you have the cube, your right hand has had tools in it. You also start searching around some desks and everything. You see your tool, you go to grab your tool, and you realize the picture of your daughter is in your hand. And you look at it. And just beyond the picture, you can see the crack. The picture and the crack both have a sense of familiarity around it. What are you going to do?
Do I believe, from my understanding of the layout of the ship, would I be able to make a, end game event run to the unescape pod, or should I just embrace whatever might be speedy?
I can't tell you what your character's thinking, but what I can tell you is that the 20 people that ran down the hall towards the pods, you heard screams and a whooshing sound.
So intellect says there's probably no way out of this. Is there a helmet nearby at all? Would I be able to search for that?
Let me see. Well, actually, you have your suit and helmet on, if I remember. So.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah, you do have that on. Yeah.
If it's better to jump straight into the vacuum of space instead of an explosion, so I'm going towards that tear.
You go for it?
Yeah.
Immediately, your eyes begin to focus on the very reality around you, the creaking of metal, all the warnings, the fires, the explosions, the release of sudden steam. You rush directly into the crack. You start flying through. Dex check, please. Or actually, straight up Dex check, please. Or what the hell am I doing? What am I doing? And athletics, please.
Gotcha. I'm going to use the +4, 7, but I'm going to use +4.
Okay, all right, cool. Add in the 4, that's going to bring you up to an 11. All right, you only have a +5 left and 4 advantages.
Okay.
You dive through that. There is an immediate sense of peace that comes over you. You can feel something holding on to the picture in your hand as you begin to float through the cube in the other. You go into something. You can see this. You can see the station's walls passing by, the inner bulkheads crushed. You see things that have been done to this ship that don't seem to make any sense at all. And at one point, you see what appears to be stars in the distance moving. But the way that they're moving, it's almost like points of light on the outline of something, much in the same way that we would view a constellation, but in a three-dimensional fashion. And when the stars themselves begin to move, the background of stars do not. They remain. 2 stars from 1. The outline of a creature 500 times larger than the orbiter station itself has managed to reach around the station and begin to crush and take out. With the cube in hand, you can feel a pulsing of energy. Can I have... Ooh. Give me a Constitution save real quick.
12.
12?
Yes.
Holding onto it tight in space. You see the planet on one side, and you're looking at the station. Now you're starting to get further and further away. But you hold onto that cube, and as you open up your hand, holding onto like one finger so you don't lose it, you see it's the thing's reflection in there, and there is something beyond. You capture something in the reflection of the cube itself. You don't know exactly what that is, but I need you to make an intelligence save.
22.
You understand that whatever that thing is that has wrapped itself so completely around the station and is starting to rip it apart, its energy has just been captured inside of the cube, and you can see its reflection. What you see doesn't make any sense. It's so large, it's difficult to capture it all on one. In fact, looking at the planet and seeing exactly how close that you are to it, you have to scan a full 180 degrees just to appreciate the one side of it or to the other. And this thing surpasses even that. What are you doing?
Hide it from my sight. I'm gonna clutch it because I know it's now distracting me. I have an immense task ahead of me now that I am in the vacuum of space.
As you grab onto it again, are you squeezing it? Are you applying pressure to it?
Yes.
You are. Okay. You are doing as much as you can. You start bearing down on it. And that's when you see it. You look. This is a massive creature that is a part of time and space. You can hear the electrical feed, or rather the feed into your helmet from the ship itself. Things are breaking apart from within. And then finally, those warnings now go away. Everything around you disappears until finally you find yourself in a world of color. Your eyes start picking up on different energies that are all around you. Each and every single one of them all contained within that cube. You see them all at once. First, it's a flash on your left, and then the left side of the cube now captures that image. And as soon as that flash subsides, you still see it captured over here. But then that dissipates as soon as another... you see something else. And this image here, you take a look. What's your passive perception?
It is...
It's like 10, 15, right? It's 15, I think.
Passive perception is 15.
15. You take a look at it. So at this point, you're not even going to have to roll perceptions in order to receive the info. You begin taking a look at it, and you can see what appears to be an arm of flesh of some kind. You see a distinct outline of a three-dimensional object, something that you were only able to see as a brilliant burst of light directly in front of you, but right here on the face of that cube, something that looks like a sausage without a casing. And there's definitely it's bad. Something else then begins to occur. You realize there's a space that is happening. There's something else that's beginning to occur. I need you to make one more intelligence save.
Total 20.
You understand something is there in front of you. But that something is not so much a where. You understand where it is in three-dimensional space. But there is, in fact, something else out there. You can hear it inside your helmet. But all of the sounds are constantly warped into something else. You also understand that it's not so much of a where it is, like that there's a depth and a height and a length, but you also understand that there's a when. You begin seeing, you take a look at the glove, and then you take a look at your other glove, and you can see that both the cube and the picture of your daughter. You see the picture of your daughter. At first, you see that it had started out as something of a chemical. And then you see that it was a chemical that was applied to some kind of whatever it is that film is made out of at this point, so like celluloid or what have you. You see all the chemicals. You see the chemicals.
Looking at the base components of everything that make up this item in my hand.
Not only that, but you can also see when the chemicals. You can see the chemicals when they were, when they are, and when they will be. You see the exact same thing pertaining to your gloves. You can see not only the surface here, but also the surface directly on the other side. You begin taking a look at everything as it all is laid out in front of you. Your three-dimensional brain, or rather your three-dimensional body, begins to perceive fourth-dimensional space. And when you look through your hands and into the space beyond, everything around you is moving, is alive. The space itself folding constantly in on each other. No matter where you look, you see a pinpoint, and into that pinpoint, everything is flowing, while right next to it, another one, and that pinpoint is now flowing into that. You can see the ship bending and folding and inside and out. You can see simultaneously the portions or the remnants that are closest to you and those that are on the far side that you would never be able to see. Your eye is almost, or rather, you're almost afraid to take a look at the planet, but you can see all sides of the planet all at once, and yet it is no larger than it was before. You can see that it is being attacked. And
I want to know.
And something on that planet is preventing any kind of damage to it. The Syndicate, for a long time, it has gained experience and expertise in completely milking a planet, rendering it void of any resources at all. And this planet has resisted all attempts. You can see green patches of land in the distance. You also realize that there is something else out there. What are you doing?
I want to move. I don't know how I can move.
You have a new advantage for you that someone just bought, apparently. Oh. Holy crap. I didn't know that you can do that. Cool. Oh shit, it's a hype train. It's close. How the fuck did they... hype train incoming.
No.
Dude, you just got a second round of hype. Holy
yeah.
Holy fuck. Congrats, you now have an additional +1.
Absorbing the fact that I have an understanding of a new perception. I want to see if I can be towards the planet.
You think of it, and you start, the moment you look towards the planet, you start moving towards it.
Holding on to the cube and my belongings tightly. It's the only thing that's grounding me and helping me understand my 3D form, as well as the limitlessness behind being outside of that. The continued paradox of being on one plane to the next, willing my position in space and time towards this is all coming together really well.
You get closer and closer, and you realize that you are not actually moving through space-time, but space-time is moving around you. With a mere thought, you are able to hold on to and hold back space. You can prevent it from coming to you. You can prevent it from enclosing on you. How do you want to control this? And it's going to require some checks.
You said there's a thing trying to envelop the planet?
It actually, that was your initial take. Yeah, your feeble mortal mind, as brilliant as you are, is trying to conceive of this. And it's not so much that something is enveloping it, it's that it is enveloped by. You begin to see that there is energy that is coming out of this. And an image of the surface of the planet now captured inside of that cube. You squeeze it a little bit, and you begin to understand there is something about Terrace 1. It's alive. There's an energy there that is alive. And that is protecting itself against the Syndicate and everything else that is out there.
Made my life of what short and useless as it was difficult. I would like to help.
How do you do?
I wanted to be where that source is. That source that is defending against the oppressing energy, whatever this being is that is trying to consume or envelop this planet. I want to help.
You start finding your way into a rabbit hole. Give me your thoughts.
There's a way to understand what I'm looking at, and I can see the folds and the overlayers of it, the fact that it has a perceptive time. The time folds in on itself, so I see the past, present, and future of this item. These creature is holding on to something that has a separate perspective of it. That separate perspective continues to hold on to its own being on its own dimensional level, and it's able to defy whatever will exists beyond the laws that it functions on in and of itself. And
it begins to overtake you. The thoughts begin to consume you. There's a dampness around you. The first thing you feel is your knees are wet. And somewhere above you, you think, there is a dark gray cloudy sky. You can hear wagons and whatnot begin to pass by. You realize you are knees down in the mud. Your hands completely covered. The cube itself covered. You're wearing a suit. The space suit. Still. You're in a helmet. You take a look at the photo. It is completely covered in mud.
That clean that off.
You do. You rub it against, and you realize that you're on the water side of a bulwark. You realize that you are down where nobody can see you. Behind you is a river. The river itself is actually fairly wide, and in the distance you can see a bridge that is crossing it. You can hear some music from up top. What are you doing?
What? Was that a dream? No, that couldn't have been a dream. Where am I? I'm holding my daughter.
You see
bells.
Yep, you do. And you heard bells before too. You look up and you can see the top of a steeple with the upper round of a clock currently obscured by the bulwark wall. You'd have to move closer to the water to kind of get that angle to be able to see it, or come up and over. Unfortunately, it's also during the day. And you can see people in the distance. They're wearing hats that... You got a level 3 complete. Wait, did we actually touch on level 4? Did we touch on level 4 from this?
Yes.
Hey, Adams, man, you got a +1, +2, +3, +4, and a +5, as well as a total of 8 advantages. Yeah, that's the voice of God. That's the voice of Manda.
Thanks, y'all.
All right, go for it, dude. What do you want to do?
I problem. I am now when? No, I'm where. I am not right. All right. Let's do something. Do I see anybody like sleeping or hanging around? Or
No,
somebody
you
who's on
imagine yourself on the shore of a river.
Mhm.
Every now and then, just looking at the stones and other things that you see around you, something that you haven't seen in 7 damn years. You see what would appear to be like seaweed, now currently dried up or just laying down flat, indicating that the water does rise and go down. However, the wall that is there protects the streets on the other side from that water. So you have about a 12-foot wall in front of you, and from what you can see, goes all the way around. That's on one side. And on the other side, a river with a similar wall over there, and a couple of other places where there are bridges that cross from the height of that wall over. So at this point, no one can see you. You can't see anyone with the exception of a couple of, like, you might be able to see the top of what seems to be a very tall black hat, like passing by on the wall, along with somebody's shoulder and right side. Dark colored coats, long.
Gonna make sure I remove the helmet and see if I'm hallucinating, get some air.
Yeah, you go. You smell seaweed and water and air with a hint of smoke. You smell food. You finally, out of the distortion of the helmet's visor, you look around and you swear you see a cat in the distance on the shore.
Speechless. He's going to start removing his things. He has a pretty rudimentary set of undergarments. So but this stuff doesn't look right for here. He's gonna wrap it all in on itself, including to protect the helmet specifically, because that seems like it could be important to hold into its like best form.
Okay. The cat, upon seeing you, kind of stops for a second at a distance of about 20 feet or so. Curious, not doing anything.
Try and scare it.
You what?
I'm trying to scare it.
You do that? Okay. It, like, from over there?
Yeah. It's the only thing looking at
It
me.
roars at you.
Oh.
You see its maw just kind of go.
Yep. The other way. That is where I'm going.
Okay. The cat, like, tail goes up and off he goes. You go the other way. You venture down. Oh, go ahead, man. What are you...
I'm going further down away from that.
Okay.
I'm finding a place where I can like remember this spot so that I can stow away my suit, kind of like hide it like in the water, wrap it around something.
Okay.
And that's the limit of that. I want to keep this out of sight for the time being until I get my bearings, because I'm on a terrestrial planet. I have water. There are things here, scary things, but things here.
Okay. All right. You have been walking down the beach next to the river all this time, and the music and livelihood of this entire city, wherever you happen to be, it's actually pretty dope. And then you come around an area and you can see ahead that the wall is lowered. And, well, first you see the peeking out of a dock into the water. And then you see how the wall has now lowered down to ground level, your ground level. And you can see people working on the dock ahead of you by about 75 feet.
Holding my stuff in tow, weird footwear on feet, walking up to these people.
Okay. You have everything bundled up. I'm curious.
Yep.
I'm curious what you're going to do with the very large helmet.
Oh, that large helmet is in my stuff, so nobody can see what that is. It's like protected by the cloth of the material.
Okay. So you've got like
itself.
this just very large white cloth bundle.
Yes.
Okay. You have on your work clothes and grease and other things on you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Not a problem. Yeah. You. Okay.
Excuse me. Hello. I have to relieve myself. Where would I go?
What
for
language are you
that?
speaking?
Common.
Yeah. It's
common.
They're looking at you, not really responding at all. You see one guy.
Okay. I will wave, and I will walk away.
Oh, which way do you walk?
I'm walking to not towards the river, but towards the market now.
Okay.
To kind of blend in, quote unquote, with the people.
Okay, yeah, totally cool. So you start heading up into the heart of the city. Looking around, the city is rather magnificent. There are plenty of old buildings, and much attention has been paid to the decorations around the doors, the walls, the eaves of everything. The architecture is amazing. You also see that much of it is apparently handmade. There's not so much here that is crafted through machinery. As you pass by a building, you can see that the wooden facade there is completely hand-carved. You still see all the tool marks. The stones in the street, it's all cobblestone. The wagons, black lacquer with hand-wrought wheels around wooden wheels and spokes. Horses. You've seen pictures of a horse, but now you smell them. In addition to seeing them, muscles glistening under a carpet of sweat. You see people as they pass by you, moving around you, still being polite in some sort of a fashion, raising their hand to their hat, but not taking it off or anything. You see many people doing that, and ladies immediately scurry away.
Having kind of a breakdown of realization between seeing new but old things, he's gonna start to kind of spiral. Quantum travel. That is quantum travel. I know what that is. How did I do that? I don't know you there. I'm gonna grab somebody. Do you understand what has just happened? All right.
Stone about a Satan building?
I don't understand you, but listen, this is important. So, if you get down to the theorem of it, what? I don't understand. Just listen. Do you have paper? Writing. Sorry. Yes.
He pushes you out of the way. Hold on.
All right.
Oh, I only rolled a 7. What's your make a dex?
Oh yeah, gotcha. It is a 13.
Oh yeah, no. He attempts to push you in order to get away from you, but you simply just kind of went blah. It's just like he pushed.
Yes. No. But listen. You have to understand. There's a process. Much like you're walking on this street right now.
He starts walking away.
You're not. All right. Someone. School. I need to. Chalk. That's the thing. Like it is now. I'm going to. I can't read this, can I?
You see signs in all sorts of foreign glyphs and some kind of an alphabet that you just don't get.
All right. So away from looking at the glyphs, I'm going to look into the buildings if they have like storefronts, perhaps. Yeah. All right. I'm looking for clothier.
It doesn't take too long. You do find a clothier, and it appears to be like full of suits, like so many of them are wearing.
I'm gonna walk in.
Okay. Now we're going to take care of this scene real quick.
All right.
Okay. What's your AC?
My AC is 15.
Okay. Well, good for you. I got a 16.
Okay.
And after several minutes of interaction, somebody walking along the street gets interrupted just as they pass by that very store as Renault gets thrown out of it.
That's fine. That's fine. You have wonderful things you're wearing. That's fine. Oh, good day.
And they like you see people looking at you like lunch in the Alming. Like they are saying things you just don't understand as they walk by, and such as it is for the remainder of your day. At one point, you manage to say, are you looking for a place of safety, or are you looking for a place of answers?
I'm still wet, and I still have
are.
Like this bundle of clothes with me. Like I don't have anything, and I don't know the language.
You managed to.
Maybe I could figure it out.
Well, it's going to take some time.
Is there some place where people are gathered and having conversation, like an open cafe or something like that, and I can just kind of stand there and just listen?
You come across a wide variety of places, and so many of them are simply not paying attention to you. There is at points when the day just simply wears on and rain begins to take over. The city streets now empty. You find yourself huddled with your bundle above your head. And so it happens. Day after day, night after night. Sometimes the rain doesn't chase livelihood away. Sometimes there are people that are out there doing very much the same, but many of them also have these these hemispherical shields above their head, each one with a stick running up to its center. Fairly lightweight by the looks of it. They run around underneath these things. And you try doing stuff, and every now and then, while you're just standing there, someone throws a metal disc at your feet.
Pick it up.
It seems to be the same color as copper wiring.
Conductive. Gets an idea. He reaches to the cube.
Yeah, the cube is still there.
Takes the copper coin and gives proximity tests.
There is a... Yeah, give me a dex save.
Yep. That would be a 9.
Oof, okay.
I'm gonna use my +1.
Okay, so there's a... It's like you see the coin is just slag. It's down on the ground. You have slight burn marks on your fingertips, and the cube has remained completely cold and safe.
Let's put that away. All right. I'm gonna stow that one away. That's not coming out in public ever again.
Okay.
All right.
Another day passes. You've made a total of 3 of those copper discs so far. What have you, for food at one point? Oh, you know what?
I would like to actually start traversing this area to kind of learn the types of people that go through so I can get an understanding of the community.
Okay.
And if is anyone who leaves stuff around that I haven't seen, somebody leaves an umbrella, somebody leaves a hat, somebody gives me an opportunity to use my fingers.
Okay.
To 5-finger discount something.
Yeah. You know what? I would like you to give me 3 sleight of hands, 2 stealths, and 3 survivals. Actually, make that 3 of each.
21, 20, and 18 for sleight of hand.
And 18 for sleight of hand. Okay, cool.
Okay.
And for stealth, give me 3.
I'm going to use a reroll. I rolled a 8 on 1, so I'm going to use one.
Failure tells an awesome story. You sure you want to use a reroll for that? You want to? It's up to you. You have it,
yeah,
dude.
so
you have 8 of them.
I know. That's why I was like, let me use like one of them.
Okay, go ahead. All right, go ahead. Use it.
So I got a. Oh man, it just doesn't like me. Nope, it's a reroll. So 7, 9, and 7 for stealth.
Okay. And for your survival, please, 3 of those.
And for survival, I got a 10.
Poor guy.
A 7. And a 14.
Okay. All right, let me think. Okay, you ready? Year 1. Trying to sneak around and stealing stuff has not exactly been too good. You're not exactly light on your feet when it comes to that. You haven't yet learned how to quickly move out of way or to even follow somebody that you might be able to pickpocket. You've not been able to do that. So you've learned that stealth is simply not your forte. That's your very first 7 for the stealth. However, when it came down to, you thought, all right, well, maybe instead of casing joints where I happen to see a pie or something like that hanging out on a windowsill and stealing it, I'll try to do something. I'll try to scrape things together. So as you begin to learn about society, you also discover that they end up having a place where they collect at night. You see people that come out and they empty from houses. You see ash and boxes and other things. They put all of this inside of a giant wagon that they then roll through the streets. And this occurs every single night. You've learned a term, dust man or dust woman or dust person, applied to that, or ash man or what have you. You don't know exactly what that means, but you realize that this is somebody that collects all the waste that the city is now generating, and in there are food scraps. So you decide to concentrate on that initially. You manage to find a couple of edible things, carrots and other things like that, some butts of vegetables that have been thrown away, cabbage leaves. There's tons of cabbage leaves, and if you collect them and then you rinse them off in water, even though they're somewhat wilted, you do manage to scrape together something. That is your 10 survival. But one opportunity happened to pass. It was a woman who was just going by the dress. Now that you're beginning to understand, you're about half of the way through this year now. You're beginning to understand the city is filled with people from all walks of life. You don't see too many that are completely decked out to the nines, but you do see a ton of people that are dressed very much like you, but more in rags. Children, shoeless, holes in knees, pants that are baggy, probably passed down from an older brother. In fact, you find out rather quickly that all clothing amongst everyone except for the regal people on the west side of the city are actually rather poor. You manage to gather, through theft, your first set of clothing. When year 2 comes, you've now picked up on a good amount of words. You've had waking nightmares every single day that you've been here, but they seem to be getting a little bit less and less as you become more and more integrated with the city itself. There's almost a comfort around this place called Fallen Drift. It's very primitive. You have been looking for ice dispensers. You've been looking for all sorts of conveniences of your modern life, and unfortunately none of them actually are around. But by the middle of year 2, you now picked up that, okay, you can actually speak the language some. You managed to find a place to live at one point. You were with 10 other people inside of a hovel, but you did manage to find something. Through begging, you were somewhat persuasive. You weren't all that bad. Can I have a persuasion check, please?
15.
In fact, you were quite good. And speaking in the native tongue, you were able to score yourself something that you've seen other people have, and it was your first disc of silver. Called coins, you now understand that this is a monetary system. Simply exchange this thing for anything else, providing they take this thing. And most everyone takes these things. The silver is what buys you your first suit. Now that you begin to understand the worth of that silver, that is about the pay of 2 months for some. You don't forget that face. It was a dwarf. It was short in stature, kind old face. Squat, like your head, only squished down some. Powerful features.
If gravity happened to work on him a little longer, a little closer to the sun, or at his way station, that makes sense. It makes sense. It happens.
Yeah. May I have an intelligence check?
21.
It's the same face that you saw in the cube. Time goes on. You realize that you still are not that stealthy. At one point, there was a street gang that was going around, and, well, let's just say that they caught you. You tried going around. That was your stealth 9. You tried hiding away from them. Unfortunately, that simply did not work. And there was a period of time, thankfully, you were not wearing your suit that day, and your suit is still back safely at your home with the other 11 people now. And you couldn't find your way back. You found yourself in an area of the city that is rather deplorable. You found yourself in the slums. Looking around, this place is simply not welcoming. There are iron gates that hold people back from traversing through one side of a street to the other. You hear disease. What's that?
Assumingly, this is a very crude security setup.
It's a visual deterrent and nothing more, because kids just routinely hop these things.
No. The keyholes show the only thing that is there, and those are rudimentary, but they're physical. Can't do anything with that. Perhaps is there one of these gates with I'm assuming more of the richer types separate this section? Can I try to see if I got the same reaction from the coin to the gate like keyhole?
Yeah, you want to. What is your intention?
To see if I can melt the locking mechanism inside of there, because it's basic mechanics. If you have the initial first key slot, if it falls in through melting like it did with the coin, it will lock off and I can just slide.
Sure, yeah.
The older portion aside.
Describe it.
So taking the cube and actually like making sure nobody's like watching around me, I will place it at the center portion of the keyhole where the mechanism goes, where the key would push the lock portion. I would put it there and press it press the cube itself to see if it reacts.
It does. There's a quick that zerks inside of the lock. Give me a sleight of hand with advantage.
Okay. I'm going. First thing I'm gonna do after it does that is I'm gonna put that away.
Okay.
20 on the sleight of hand. Well, actually, yep, 20 and 21. So 21 on the sleight of hand.
Yeah, you managed it. You just kind of stand there and you're like looking around. You zerk the lock. The lock, and like you can feel something drip onto your boot. And you look down and it's like iron slag. And you look at the lock and there's a nice hole, clean hole in it where there used to be a lock.
Gonna walk in there and close the gate and walk up there like I'm supposed to go there, like I belong here.
Now, mind you, this is the slums.
Yes.
Okay. You walk through. This is a poorer area than where you are. Many people don't have a home. So you walk through an alley to get into an inner sanctum, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
You see children and adults, homeless, their feet blackened by the dirt, many of them up on ramshackle porches. Just beyond them, pools of fetid water run off with offal in it. You see basic trimmings of meat that they can't even eat anymore in there, wilted cabbage leaves and more. The clothing is in deplorable shape, and the place reeks of disease, filth, anxiety, fear, fatigue, and so much more. You look up and you see desperation and also resignation on the faces of everyone here.
There's no faces that I see that are challenging at all. Like anybody like, what the fuck you doing here? But
how are you dressed right now?
I'm in my stolen clothes.
Okay. So you're I mean, you're literally slumming.
Yeah.
So one thing that you've learned about Fallendrift is very often you've caught them doing this.
Mm-hmm.
People would slum, not understanding how the other half lived. This society has within it noble class people, the upper of the upper, will dress down into clothing resembling theirs and then walk through the slums to get a better idea as to what's going on there. Understanding that that happens, it's really of no surprise when others don't pay you much mind. But then you also see, as you turn around a corner, and some kid kicking a can and chasing that can, the same cat from before. You see what appears to be somebody in a waistcoat, a raven landing, or rather a crow landing nearby. Somebody in a waistcoat, their coat taken off and neatly folded over a railing of some kind, a top hat off and properly placed on a nearby chair. And you see him kneeling down on one knee and talking with someone. As you near, you understand that the conversation is one of assistance, an understanding, a mere conversation. In the poor person's hands is what appears to be a good amount of meat on a very expensive fork, a plate of silver in his hands that he's eating off of, a soup bowl nearby with some sort of a cold porridge within it. He's being fed. The man looks over at you, and as he does, you can see that he's got some pointy ears. His features are a little bit more angular, a little bit more sharp and finer in detail. Dark hair, kind of combed back. And then a door opens. And you see what it could be a human, hair up in a bun, not a dress, pants. You've come to understand that the society here is pretty much anybody can wear anything. This one comes out, looking at you, smiles and nods. Dear, it seems that we have a visitor. The man turns, looks over. Oh, good day, sir. Slumming, has it?
What gave me away?
Well, you haven't got muck all over you.
That's true. It's not necessarily sanitary, but...
Ah, that then would be the second clue. You know what sanitary is. Are you in need? Asks the man.
I know a thing related to gathering information about my surroundings, and I would like assistance in that department.
You're looking for directions then?
More directions, pointed directions.
Where is it that you're trying to go? I mean, you're in the Fenmore Down South right now.
You said the Fenmore Downs.
Fenmore Down South.
All right. Where could I have a place to work with materials?
Oh, the man immediately stands up and he kind of like he's like stands up and like oh, you'll be right as rain now. You just continue to eat all that food and then you'll be just fine. Your name, sir? He approaches you and like takes his coat and starts putting it on and dusts off his top hat. He's waiting for your name.
That is a good question. Renault, that is my name.
It's very kind to meet you. I'd like to introduce myself. I am Preston Dwyer.
Preston, it is a pleasure to meet you. However, the introductions, I believe, are the first step to... God, this language is so hard to express what I mean.
The one in the dress steps forward and goes, employment, I believe is what you're about to say.
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer here happens to own a factory.
Industrial establishment.
Well, yes, of sorts. We are inventors. We pride ourselves on the very things that we can create from the environment around us. Imagineers is another way of putting it.
Please. Tell me more about the premise, the early concepts that have developed this idea of employment that you have. Because based off of what you just said, you have not only the tools and the placement and environment in which you can enrich the concepts that you have come up with as you go through the thought process, but you also have a system where you organize your thoughts to develop on those same ideas, meaning that it is a little bit beyond what is currently around us, although it does not seem to be influencing it enough to benefit the community. But anyway, tell me more.
My good man, this is absolutely brilliant, and I very much wish to continue this conversation. However, I find myself in not quite a good state. Perhaps tomorrow morning, you would be so kind.
Yes.
If you come over to... Do you know where Turning Wheel is?
No.
Right. He gives you some instructions. Okay, he points you off to the west and tells you that is Eastgate. It's a fairly rundown area, but not as bad as Fenmore Downs. And then coming out of Eastgate, you would then pass in between Dredgen Gardens and Mendington. From there, you would turn north in between the Old Bailey District and Mendington and continue going up until finally you come into the Turning Wheel District. He also gives you an address, 12 Wheeler Street. At 12 Wheeler Street, whenever you arrive, you can see a large door on what appears to be a factory. Large, heavy lead glass windows, giving plenty of daytime light to the workers presumed to be in that lofty area. But directly above the door is a very ornate black iron bit that hangs down a giant wheel, and contained within that wheel of iron that is permanently affixed in a stationary position is a gear that seems to be on 2 pivot points that turns with the wind. You see the sign on it, and it simply says Wheeler Industries. That would be in
Focus, the notes.
What's that? Yeah, I know. I'm sitting here going, I'm making all this shit up. Now I'm going to have to write it all down. Okay, so taking a look, what do you want to do?
Before I go there, he says go there tomorrow. I want to be there early, but I want to learn more about the area around it. Like
Absolutely.
the people who go in, other employees. I kind of want to case the joint, but not for the intention of doing crime.
Absolutely. It appears that the main source of... Oh, actually, you know what? Give me a perception check. Let's find out. Or, no. Give me insight.
Okay.
Excuse me.
I did 2 rolls. I did the perception, which was a 24, and an insight, which was a 20.
It's the insight that we're going to use in this case, because you're trying to find out something about them and trying to get some insight on them. So, yeah, you are doing your thing. You begin looking around. You spend, I'm assuming that you spend like the evening there, but the evening prior? Okay, cool. All right. It's a nice, quiet night out. In fact, there's no rain this night. Instead, it's quiet enough in this industrial area where the crickets can finally be heard. And off in the distance, the wagons and the carriages convey residents to their proper locations. But here in Turning Wheel, life has come to a pleasant standstill. You can still hear church bells in the distance, but other than that, you're nice and alone. You take a look around. You've managed to, as you walk through this area, and you did come across some rather seedy areas. You came across this bar that seemed to have, in fact, you saw somebody get tossed out of it. It looks like another dwarf or something like that. I think it was called like the Goose and the Gander or something. And then as you continue moving forward, once you arrive in Turning Wheel, you realize that once you saw the door, you also saw poster advertisements, bills that were up on walls and offering employment to people of skill. The pay is approximately 4 pennies a day initially, but you would be able to work yourself up to 2 silver a week if you're really good at what you do, and if you manage to invent something that would get you, well, essentially that they would be able to market. Of course, you lose all rights to it. They would then claim all the rights. But
upon seeing that section specifically, Renault would just be like, I could turn the entirety of this community on itself. But it doesn't even matter the pay. It would just be better to live here with the idea of a latrine. No, that's too much. Like, I have to go slowly. I have to one thing at a time. Okay, broad understanding of cleanliness. Soap. Maybe I can show them soap.
There's a quick moment there. You're talking. Hey, we're talking to you.
Oh, sorry.
You see 3 guys that are standing directly there. You were so lost in thought and possibility, you didn't even pay attention to the fact that you were being surrounded by 3 people on a lonely Turning Wheel street. You're fairly well dressed, and they want a part of it. Roll for initiative.
I rolled a 6. I would like to reroll, please.
Okay, go ahead, man. Let's see what you got.
Much better. 13.
Total. Okay, awesome. Hold on. Let me get to this. Oh boy. Roll for initiative. I know. Here we go. Let me see if this is going to work here. I had this created. Or at least I thought I had it created. Hold on. Let me see. We've got. Okay, cool. Yeah, you know what? This will work. All right, cool. And all right, you have a 13.
Yep.
Okay, you're gonna get to go first. There's the guy. First off, you're surrounded by what appears to be 2 humans and 1 half elf. One of them is slightly slighter in frame, just as tall as the others, but also a slight pointiness to the ears. All of them do not have on the best of clothing, and all of them have what appear to be small-sized clubs in their hand. The one directly in front of you, and may I have a... Well, you know what? I'll roll it for you. Cool. You notice that he's favoring his left leg. Take an action.
So, but before we have any further conversation, I want to talk to you about the barrel to your right. If you pay close attention...
He looks over to his right. You made me look over to my right. Perfect. All right.
I want to use that to kind of get an opportunity to get up on him.
Yeah, go ahead, dude. Roll the hit.
I don't know where it is on here.
What are you trying to do?
I'm just trying to do my unarmed strike.
Oh, an unarmed strike? Look under your actions tab on the right side.
Boom. I got it. Ooh, 19.
Fuck yeah. Where are you hitting him?
I want him while he's looking at when he looks to the barrel.
Oh, hey, what about it?
To help him.
You just walk over. You just smash his head into it 1 second. Yeah, roll for damage, please.
Gotcha.
I know it says 0 for your unarmed strike. Go ahead and roll 1d4 for that.
Got it. I'm using actual dice because I don't know where that is.
No problem.
3.
You got 3 points?
Yep.
Okay. He like comes up. There's now blood in his face. He's like, "Oi!" It comes up. Go ahead and. Oh no, actually, it's gonna be the other 2, or rather the other 3. He's gonna lose his turn on that one. He had a 12. 11 is now going to go. He's gonna rush up on you. He's gonna take us fucking that one, dude. He swung where you were. He completely missed, turned around, and all you heard was like somebody punching meat. You turn around after slamming that other guy, and this guy ended up turning around, smacking his friend. Hold on, where's the D4? Here we go. He done 4 points of damage to his friend. Okay. All right. The other one that turns around, he's going to push his friend back. And he got a 12. That other guy then falls down to the ground. Okay, we're at the top of round 2. You're up, my friend.
Using the same barrel, watching the chaos that happens, calculating everybody's motions based off of how they're moving.
Give me a perception check with that.
Yep.
It's going to be a DC 20.
And it's not that. Let's see. Come on. I would like to re-roll that. It's a 9.
Okay, go ahead.
It goes up to 25. So actually a critical success.
Okay.
Natural 20.
Okay. With that, because you stated what you were doing, you begin to take a look at it. You begin to calculate all the various things that could possibly go on. You're going to get advantage on your next attack.
Okay. So use the man that just bumped off the barrel. It caused one of the assailants to miss my motion because I went forward, which threw him in a direction of one of his friends. His friend got hit, and the other one went to attack, but he was slayed by the gentleman in front of him. I'm going to use that motion to step over the gentleman who smashed himself in the barrel. I'm going to push the barrel over, which would lead to it rolling in front of the guy who's about to attack me, which would leave him flat-footed and falling on the ground. That's going to be my attack.
But yeah, roll. That was awesome. Go ahead, roll.
16.
Total is 16. Exactly what you described happens. The entire Rube Goldberg machine begins to take place. Can you please roll damage?
2.
That's going to be
Two on
2.
D4.
Yeah. Hold on. That is going to be, and that was against. I didn't follow all of that. That was against 1, 2, or 3.
It was against the third guy.
Perfect. No, then I did hear you correctly.
Yeah.
With that, there's like, bing, he gets his bell rung, turns around, and he's like, thunk, just drops down on the ground. The other 2 immediately charge you. You're done with yours, with your stuff, right?
Correct. Yes, I'm all done.
All right, cool. Wow. All right, first guy rolled a 2. The second guy rolled a 14. That's got +1 on each. So the first guy, he's got so much blood in his face, he can't do anything. The barrel is now over by the third guy, right? The barrel?
Yes, he was supposed to have like gone over the barrel to like kind of like eat it to be in the way, and I was going to sidestep.
Okay, perfect. All right, cool. So that's over there by number 3. Number 1, with so much blood in his face, he turns around, he swings. Unfortunately, he only got a 3. The second guy got a 15, which is your AC, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yes, my AC is a 15.
Oh, dude, he's going to swing 5 points of damage.
Oh, that hurts.
What are you down to?
I'm down to 3.
Oof. Okay. There is... Oh, wow. Hold on. There's a moment there when all of reality stops. You can see the fist starting to come through with a grimace of determination. And as you do, you begin to move around, and you inadvertently, like in an attempt to immediately parry him, you grip him, and you can feel a life's energy within him. You manage to reach down into your pocket, grab the cube, pull it out, contact him, and you can feel a suck out of him and into your hand via the cube. You get healed for 4 points of damage.
Okay.
And then the punch then comes through. Yeah. And that one would hit you. Oh, no. And then thunk. Oh, no, sorry. You get hit, and then you feel all of that. It's almost like he didn't hit you. You got now a slight bruising on your cheekbone. That is number 2. Number 3 is already down. You go, my friend.
Good observation and tactical movement. I'm going to assist you. I'm going to shove this man over the guy that's on the floor so that I can be in better position to the guy that's standing.
Give me a strength check. Beat a 10.
Oh, no. I would like to use a reroll. I rolled a 3.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
11.
That's 11. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, it works.
Nice.
Yeah, he manages to. He like kind of steps back a little bit, but you manage to move him back by about 5 feet.
Okay. And with that, I'll take a step. And now that I have them both, and it's like, now gentle recourse would be better suited for everyone involved because I believe, in terms of vitality, I am of the higher ground. Would you like to discuss this any further?
He just lunged. Yeah, the guy with the blood streaming down. He's going to attack. He's going to be at disadvantage. Yeah, I rolled a 9 twice. Is that a 9? Yeah, that's a 9. Or is that 6? No, that's a 9. I rolled a 9 twice. Mm-hmm. That's a +1 10. So yeah, he completely misses. The second guy now coming at you again with a 15, and that's going to be for 3 points of damage.
Jeez. Yep. Now I'm at 4.
Oh, God.
You seem to have favor on your side, including probability and trajectory for your fist to my face.
What are you doing?
Let's correct that. This is guy number 1, I believe.
This is number 2 that just hit you. Guy number 1 missed.
Okay, I want to prevent him from hitting me like that anymore, so I'm going to hit towards his joints. I'm going to see if I can like thwack him right towards his joints.
Okay, not a problem. Go ahead, roll to hit.
17.
Yeah, dude, you end up like you consider a punch, and then you remembered his weakness, something about his left leg. You kick his left leg. Give me damage.
4.
Yep. Oh, he just crumples down on the ground, and you can see his leg is kind of bent at an odd angle at the moment, and he's clutching his knee. He is none too happy. He is going to be taken out of the combat and still very much alive. The other guy swing and a miss with an 11. He goes in for it, and he's too close to that barrel, and he tries, kind of backed up into it, ends up trying to sit down on it. Unfortunately for it kind of spun out underneath him, and he ends up landing right on his tailbone. He's none too happy. He then spends a move to get back up. No damage to him, but now the barrel is starting to roll away. You go.
Now, are there any street signs or anything loose on the street in the general area?
Yeah. We could say that there's some detritus and other things around. Particularly since you're near the factory. Audience, give me exclamation point D100. If you get a 10 or less, an 11. Oh, fuck. Oh. I was going to say, if you get a 10 or less, then I'd say that you actually find a real weapon. But in this case, yeah, you managed to find something that can be used as a club.
Instead of lethal or violent weapon like that, I want to use some refuse that's on the ground and throw it into someone's eyes.
Oh, dude, yeah. I'm assuming the guy who's now standing up who fell on the barrel. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Give me that's going to be a dex check.
Oh, I like that one. That one is a 20 total.
Yes, yeah. You managed to pick up what amounts to mud, dirt, and perhaps a chicken bone. And a fish spine.
Got it.
And fish ribs. Fish ribs. People
Those
choke on that shit. They're awful.
Bad.
They're fucking like the pins out of a sandwich. They're so bad. So you managed to do that? Yeah. Hold up. Not gonna do any damage, but he probably fucking won. So he gets it.
Gentlemen.
He's like, I'm gonna. And you see him. He's trying to close his mouth, but something is something is propping his mouth open. He's reaching in, trying to do that, and then he's not doing.
I want to get this man medical attention immediately.
And no one's around to hear that.
No one. No one. Oh, you might need my help, sir. Do you want my help? I don't understand. You have to use your words. Oh, you're blacking out.
Yeah, he is.
Sir, you're losing consciousness. That's unfortunate. All right, I have to wash my hands.
You find a nearby water. You find a nearby puddle.
Rinse my hands off, and I will move them aside and put them on top of one another, and so they look like they slept homeless in a corner next to one another.
Completely with bloodied face and busted knee. Okay.
And I'll leave them be as they were.
Okay. Upon further examination, Wheeler Industries has within it some rather mundane stuff. You see what appears to be the beginnings of a very large tube. What you can gather is pretty much brass. Now, what you've done in order to achieve this is managed to stack up a couple of crates or something like that to be able to take a look inside the second loft, the second floor windows. You can see in there that amidst, or rather surrounded by a series of workstations, what appears to be a large metal tube, by the looks of it, brass, given any day or any night light that's actually coming in and illuminating the place. And in this, you can see a stack, what appears to be like a chimney on one side, and on the other, there's some wheels leaning up against a workstation. Looks like that they're trying to make some kind of like a locomotive type of engine, but one that operates with wheels more akin to a carriage than anything else. You don't see a place to sit or anything more than that, but you do see off in the way in the back of the building, which, looking around, you would be able to get back there. In the back of the building, you can see a door where remnants of light from the outside pour into the room ever so slightly, to illuminate something glistening. Something you're not sure of, but it's about man-sized.
That draws up some curiosity, so I'm not trying to give them anything for, a space station or anything like that. That'd be weird, but let's go give that a look.
Okay. You manage to come down off of the crates and realizing you're probably going to have to pile them back up and you bring one with you, come to the back of the building. Now you actually find iron stairs that go up, a sort of escape in case of fire, if you will. You manage to get up there. It's rather convenient. Then you find a window. It seems like you're able to actually lift it and get inside of the facility if you want.
I'm going to do that.
Okay. You do. You get inside. It's, for the most part, nice and quiet. Not much is going on in there. There's you can hear the crickets somewhat on the outside. But
I'm going to actually remove my the blazer portion of my suit, fold it down so it looks like I'm going to be here a while. So it's people like, I'm going to be here, so I'm just going to put this down and examine what's going on.
Awesome. You do. You go to the door. You open it up. And you see what appears to be the skeletal frame of a simulant.
What? That's a problem. This is a problem. Did this come with me? That would change the course of how everything has gone and come to pass. I'm gonna have to destroy this. I shouldn't destroy it.
You look around and you can see they've been working on it. All of their tools. Okay. Pipe wrenches.
Mm-hmm.
They have teeth on them.
Mm-hmm.
You have seen teeth that have been stripped bare from trying to grip certain portions of this and wrenching it. The metal of the structure of this thing is impossibly hard as compared to what they have to work with. You have seen rudimentary, like blowtorches or what have you, that they've tried to... Nothing. There is simply no discoloration of the metal there whatsoever. You're feeling that you brought this in with you. Might be onto something.
This is important. This is important. All right. He's going to continue to analyze their tools and see if there's anything that they're relatively close to affecting this. And if he does find anything, he is going to get rid of that.
Sure. Yeah, not a problem. You take a look at it. Give me an Arcana check.
A 10.
Good enough for you to remember how to open up the cage, the chest cage.
Mm-hmm.
Not a problem. Yeah, you reach in the back, you adjust a quick little bird, turn it around to, unscrew it. I didn't think about doing that, and then it just hinges forward, and you can see in there what appears to be a cavity, cube-sized, without a golden cage as the conductor.
Automatically he knows. Got it. Keep this far away from that at all times. I'm going to step back.
Okay. You take a step back, you take a look at it, and you feel something on your back, hand-sized.
In my defense, whoever this individual is behind me, I am doing this for the sake of research, understanding, and science, which is what this establishment is for. And I was told to be here in the morning, and technically we're in the morning. Hello?
No one is there. Instead, you see a piece of paper down on the ground. Written on there in your language that you understand, come to the fountain in the south at midnight.
Ow. Oh, I got to go outside.
You're about. Yep.
he gets his stuff. He closes the the simulant up again. Make sure that's the way it was, and he's going to climb back up, put his jacket back on, and go down the escape of fire.
Okay. Okay. You do. And you judge the time. There are several clocks around, and you have approximately 2 hours before it's midnight or so. So it's about 10 p.m. or so. You manage to get down there. Now, where you are, you come down in between the Old Bailey District and Mendington, following the main path on down. As you follow that down, you come back, you come past Dredgen Graves, and go straight in between an old burned-out area that the locals have called Ashwater, and that and Scorm Heights immediately off to its west or southwest. As you come down there, you can see the tavern that you had come across previously. You end up turning right onto Wayton Station and continue following a main avenue down between that and Cooper's Barrow. Till finally you end up weaving a little bit towards the southeast, or rather straight east in between Slight Tom's Hold, or that area that they call Slight Tom's Hold, until finally you come into Ludgrave Park. Now, you managed to do this in about a half an hour's of time. Really nothing has transpired there. It is nice, it's beautiful, it's quiet. But Ludgrave Park you've been to before. There are many people in here that, no matter where they come from, you've seen a touch of the odd, if you will. You recognize people who are looking at things that seem to be about, just judging by the way that you and your very perceptive nature, judging by how far off they are staring, there's something there about 15 feet away, and they follow it with their eyes, and every now and then you see somebody like swatting something away that is not there. You enter into the park looking around, and certainly in the middle of it is a fountain which has no running water, and in fact, mold and mildew have taken over.
Is there anybody around here behaving like that right now?
There is one person. Most others are sleeping on benches nearby, which, admittedly, you've done in the past, and they are, quite frankly, very comfortable.
He's going to look at the person who's, like, behaving slightly erratically, and he's going to try something that he probably never thought of before. That is lowering his visual apparatus to see if there's something.
And what does the visual apparatus give you?
It was like a telescoping or microscoping option. That's all it was.
Okay.
Well, at least in the 8th age.
Sure. You so it's just telescoping and it's just magnification?
Yeah.
Okay. You see him flitting in and out of frame as he goes to swat stuff every now and then. Really, that's it. You're not picking up on anything else.
All right. Nothing out of the ordinary. All right. What is it that you see, sir?
He turns over to you. The other round. How is it that you don't see this? Why is it that you can't see this? And he turns and like starts running.
You might have the sight. All right. That's. Oh dear. I hope that one doesn't go mad. Nonetheless, I should probably be cautious. There's no way for me to read whether or not there's an energy signature or anomaly to pick this up.
Energy. Something about energy.
Perhaps.
Give me an intelligence check. See what you got.
14.
14?
14, yes.
Go for a 15.
Do I still have a plus 2?
Dude, you have a plus 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Remember,
that plus 1.
Yeah, exactly. You get a 15. You need energy. You need energy.
Do I need the golden cage for it? I'm going to pull out the cube.
Okay. All right. You pull out the cube. All right. And what are you going to do with it? What's your intention?
Holding it close. I'm going to see. All right. This I don't have a source to read it, but perhaps used with my visual device.
You do it, and
Bringing it close.
There's something, a field, a beam of light shoots out of the magnification device around your head. You see a tree that goes thunk, and branches just start falling off. You see
my pocket.
A bunch of people, like, they kind of groggily get up and start looking around, trying to figure out what happened. And a couple of people notice it's like the tree is evenly cut, like a razor just went through it, and the tips of all of them are on fire. Actually, it looks kind of pretty.
Need to test that in a controlled environment. Got it. It's fine. Lightning. There's a storm. Go back to sleep. You're fine. I got it.
Okay. Well, sure.
I now I'm going to go over to this tree to make it look like I'm doing some beautification process.
Sure.
And get it off of the beaten path, so it's just
absolutely
amongst the area. That's it. That's all I'm going to do there.
Off in the distance, you can in fact hear thunder beginning to peal through the skies. Guys, thank you so much for the way. We just got rated by 21, I believe.
Yeah.
So, what's up, guys? Welcome. The thunder is peeling off in the distance. Stars are still above, but gathering dark clouds somewhere off. It's going to be another night of rain. It's now about 11 o'clock or so. You still have an hour before those that you're supposed to, or whoever it is has said meet at the fountain, is going to be there. You don't see much of anything going on. And at one point or another, you saw somebody else there inside a Ludgrave Park just kind of start batting something away. Erin, thank you so much for all the gift subs. A third hype train? That would be the first time since this channel that we've ever gotten anything like that. Donald, holy... Dude, three fucking hype trains in a single stream.
Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing. I don't even know how the hell that happens. We've only been streaming for like 2 hours and 40 minutes. Smitey Smite! You guys are amazing. Holy crap.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, thank you. Yeah, oh my God. What? What?
I need to do more things.
Smitey Smite just gifted out 5 community subs. Holy shit. You guys are amazing. And with all the follows, wow, that's amazing. All right, so just as a rule, Kevin, if anybody is actually following before you have to make any rolls or at the time of a roll, you do get that with advantage, so I'm going to hold on to that.
Voice of God says, Hype Train level 3.
What? Are you fucking kidding me? Kevin, you have a +1, a +2, a plus... I'm sorry, you have a single +1, 2 +2s, 2 +3s, a 4... When do you have to go to bed?
I'm good. You got me.
All right, let's go. Let's just keep going. All right, dude. Here we go. So, wow, you guys are absolutely amazing. Holy shit.
Thanks, y'all. Jeez.
Fuck, man. All righty.
Oh, my God. Choo-choo.
Total choo-choos. Okay. All right, hold on. Let me get all my stuff back here. Okay. With so much of the environment... Oh, wrong one. With so much of the environment around you coming to life, in the view of those on the park benches, one person stands up and starts smacking something away. Another, closer to the tree, picks up a branch and starts swiping at something. May I have a perception check?
That is a 13. I'm going to use a +2.
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. Get that 15. Cool. So you now have a single +2 left. you see the branch on one of the swipes, the branch actually made contact with something. And it snapped while he continued to go through.
Fascinating.
He then comes back and you can see the stick like go thunk and hit something before it comes back as well. And then you see him like looking in the distance as his eyes follow. But where his eyes are following is a little bit perturbed.
New subscriber.
Oh my God.
Hello there.
Guys, thank you so much for that.
Oh.
His eyes followed a path, and now he's looking directly at you. Run! 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 He says, and his arms go up in the air, and almost like a cartoon character, he goes, "Rah!" and he fucks off. But he was looking right at you.
All right. I guess that was an interaction with this plane's level of anomalies. I have to... no time for controlled environment.
You're thinking of it all. I love it.
No time for controlled environment. Taking the cube out a little further this time, and so that I do not directly interact with anybody sleeping on a bench again, I'm going to try to control like an iconic manner in front of me.
Okay, while you do that, you hold out the small little cube, and this thing starts leaping toward this thing. You can't even see it. All you feel is poof, right into your chest. You get bowled over, and there is a smell. There is something. You smell sulfur burning against your face. Incredibly acrid air begins to surround you. You're breathing this in. You can feel a hot moisture on breath that is surrounding you. When you try to move up, you realize something is boom, 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 boom on all four sides of you. All four sides? Sure. You're now a four-dimensional creature. You have pinned down by your shoulders and down by your hip. Something is there. What are you doing?
You said sulfur.
Sulfur, yeah.
So it's most likely something ignition based, and my hands are by my sides.
Yeah.
I have the space fleece right now, and having that have an energy reactant would be sufficient. I'm going to toss it into the space. While I'm laying on my side, I'm going to toss it into the space above me to see if there is a reaction, an endothermic reaction.
The rock.
Yeah.
The thing you've been calling a space flea. Okay, so you toss that thing up. You do, and it gets maybe 6 inches away from you and bounces down right back on top of you.
Okay. It didn't have the reaction that I wanted. Good for science, but I'm
However,
still
here's what we're gonna. I can't believe that. Wow, all level 2. Hey, Amanda, what level did these amazing people achieve?
We got halfway through level 3.
Fuck, we actually touched on 3. Okay, so you still have a +1, a +2, 2 +3s, a +4, a +5. You also, Jesus Christ, you have 7 advantages. Nice.
Let's get squirrely.
Okay. Oh my God, you people! Holy God! Wow. Something is on top of you. It is breathing. You know something is there. What are you gonna do?
So I know that there was 4 points of contact on the floor around me once it dropped me down. Correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Meaning it is most likely quadrupedal. It most likely has a means that it can move through the air in a predatory manner, which would imply that it has a front-facing 2 sides on its eyes, which will help me with understanding exactly how to maneuver from under this without being in its threat range.
Okay.
So,
all of these thoughts are going very deep into your head. However, there's you snap back into it and realizing that this thing is going and manages to take a bite out of your cheek.
Oh, no.
That is going to be 4 hit points.
Oh my God, I'm at 1. Excellent. No time for science. I got to do the thing. Since it's on my face still, I got to do the thing close this time. and I'm going to bring it up and try and do the fucking
You
beam
grip.
thing again.
Holy shit! We just had 2 heals cashed in.
Oh,
you
wow.
you feel the. May I please have a from all of those that have cast it? You get to roll a d10. It's going to be 1 plus 1 was deleted by the mod. Oh no! Message deleted.
Yeah, hold on, I'm looking at it.
You got it. Thank you. Hey, Bardic Dice. Thank you so much. Yeah, over the overlay. Yeah. This is the prelude. Each of the 4 characters are receiving their own prelude. We just started this brand new campaign, so I'm glad you like it.
I rolled the d10 twice so far. I got a 2 and a 3.
No, I was asking them to do it. So Victor
my
rolled
bad.
a 10. So the heals are a d10 times your level for healing.
I'm at max.
You get a 10 back. Okay, that is cool. So with that, the other heal, because it's cashed in, Manda, we're going to, I'll call that in should he get healed again. As soon as he gets healed, have that d10 rolled.
You got it.
Awesome. Oh, fuck. I love it. Amanda, you're freaking awesome.
Thanks, y'all.
Seriously, this is, you guys are going to keep this character alive. However, it is of sufficient level that it actually gets 2 attacks, my friend.
That's all right.
It rolls a 2.
Awesome.
You managed to do something. Can you please describe what you did?
So reaching up after getting my face hit, but having the reverb while I'm processing the information around me allows me to hit my elbow up to its like center portion if it's there, and guide a glaring glance up like I did with the tree, with using the cube. And hopefully this will be strong enough to basically pierce the sky, kind of like.
Well, you managed to do something. You weren't able to get too far with your hands, but your hand was, in fact, able to stop the attack. You felt something as your arm came up. You managed to just elbow it right in the face or whatever the hell that thing is until it finally ended up moving. Give me a strength check. Let's try that. Let's go for strength.
I'm going to do one reroll.
What you have like, what do you got?
15.
A 15?
15, yeah.
Dude, do you want to add anything to that?
Oh, yes. I would love to add something to that. A +5 if you would.
Fuck! All right. Yeah, you got your +5 courtesy in the chat because it rolled an 18 on its deck, so you managed to go frank and get this thing off of you. And then for a brief moment, as you grabbed that die, you can see something moving. Do you remember when the stars in space had formed a little bit of an outline akin to a constellation, but from that, the fabric of reality was then warping into like a 3-dimensional form? You're able to actually see that in an almost predator-like effect with the shimmer of air, only in this case, extremely 3-dimensional. You're looking at it run away. You also see 2 figures standing on the fountain. Or standing at the fountain. A third begins to come up as well. A dwarf begins to approach the fountain. You find yourself waking up from a nap on the park bench there in the park. What do you do?
It's very difficult to discern between the blending days in this very strange place from dream and reality and what dimension I'm in. But regardless, good morning, everyone.
You say at midnight as you look up at the clock on the clock tower.
Good morning.
There's the people over at the bench. They're some 75 feet away. Your voice still muffled from whatever it is that is around you. That also begins to seep away until finally you're here. Everything you said about reality or dimension or something along those lines seems to track until finally things start to peel away. Whatever shell you were in, that reality melts. You literally see it drop down onto the ground and be absorbed in between the cobblestone and in between the slats on the bench upon which you now lie. On your side, a multi-tool, something that you've been gripping, the cube safely in your pocket, and in your left hand that was being held close to your heart and face, the picture of your daughter.
I hear the bells. I hear them. Time is slipping away from me.
You look up. You see the minute hand go thunk to the 12. It is now exactly midnight.
Right. I had to be here. They understood. Common was the language that was in. Someone else is here with me. Perhaps it's Silak. No, I saw him ejected. There's no way he could have survived that.
What do you do?
Perhaps. He's going to be lost in thought, thinking about this and talking to himself while he looks up at the clock. And he's going to walk around the fountain for a second, seeing if he can see anything interacting like the other homeless person did.
You see the two people. One is a woman, hair up around the head, no hat on, dark clothing. Her hands are very much in front of her, and she's listening to a much older man, his back hunched over, his hat off, holding it next to him. Then he begins to put it up. But you watch them like specters in the night. You see that the fountain is both simultaneously running and not running. You see that there is moss and that there is lichen, or that there is actually polished marble. As you look around, you see that the tree that was aflame is still on fire. But then again, so are the buildings all around you. But at the same time, they are just fine, and they are not. Somewhere in the distance, two fiery eyes turn at dog height level, look at you, and you can see what attacked you for the first time. A beast of some kind of strength, rippling with muscles underneath a tenuous fleshy skin, looking at you like with a soot-covered visage, I guess. Hard to exactly tell at this distance. And then you can see someone else in the park who in the distance you can somewhat hear something of what they might be saying, like, "Hey, get off me! Get off me!" And hitting it with a stick. And then you see it zerks in and out, and for a moment there, like something actually doing that, attacking, and he's actually beating it off. They're not mad. They just see something that most other people don't. And then you hear a voice somewhere in the distance. No, it's right next to you. It's the old man.
Ah, someone approaches. And you.
He turns his head in your direction, just as the woman turns hers to look at the dwarf. She doesn't notice the old man looking at you.
Mr. Renault, welcome. My name is al-Zafar.
And we will pick this up next week with the adventures of our last hero here on Untimely Heroes. Yay! This was fun. How'd you like this, man?